Hey everybody, what's up? It's me, Slidewhistle. This is a really weird episode. So originally our plan was to record two episodes, this episode as a bonus one for 8.3 to cover the excitement. So we re-recorded this on Monday when all this news dropped because we were so excited and we were going to record a regular episode on Wednesday. Well, then the whole drama hit with the Hearthstone Grandmasters tournament and all the China stuff. And so then we just decided not to record because nobody was really feeling it after all the drama and no response that we got from Blizzard. We refer to this as a bonus episode a couple times during the recording. Just ignore that. If you somehow haven't heard about all this drama that's been going on, a Hearthstone player from Hong Kong won his Grandmasters match, and he said, "Liberate Hong Kong, revolution of our lifetime." And you got the casters involved, or I'm not sure what's happening with that. I've seen both sides of they were involved, they weren't involved. And Blizzard gave him a 1 year ban and took back his 10K prize winnings, and claimed later on in their Friday statement that they did this because of political statements or whatever. And it apparently had nothing to do with China, which I don't think anyone's believing. I don't know why you would include that in your statement when everyone's just going to rip it apart, because it's pretty obviously not true. You wouldn't have dealt such a harsh punishment. Personally, I find it pretty odd that he made this statement and within, 24 hours he was banned. When there was a Hearthstone player who was known to be cheating, and it took them literally an entire calendar year to get him banned. It just felt too reactionary, like it came from China to save their assets or whatever, to save their face. And then J. Allen Breck issued a very non-apology on Friday, and it really felt like it was just freshman paper where you're including all these buzzwords that your professor wanted you to say, and like, oh, here are all of our values, and it just felt kind of empty. I am glad that they reverted his ban to 6 months. I do wish it was shorter, maybe 3 months, and that they gave him back his prize winnings because he earned that. He should be able to have that. I just feel like a lot of this is just so messy, and it's such a complicated situation because there's so many elements at play. And I do wish that some people in the WoW community, I've seen a lot of vitriol on Twitter calling Blitzchung an idiot for using this as his platform and just completely disregarding the fact that he's literally fighting for his country's sake and for his own safety. It's the future of his country. Like, he didn't say death to China. He didn't say anything crazy. He just literally wants his country to be free. I'm just really not a fan of some people who are defending this wholeheartedly by saying, "Oh, he broke a rule. He broke a rule. This rule should be like this, and this is how it's supposed to be." And it's like completely ignoring the fact about what his statement means and how heavy the situation really is. They're just going, "It's a rule. It's a rule. He should be banned." And it's like, you're only looking at this from one angle. You're not looking at it from all angles. It's just been so bad for Blizzard and their PR. They just have continuously made so many rash decisions, I feel like, in this whole year. And I don't know. I feel like we're probably going to get into this a little bit next week because the other two boys probably want to talk about it. And I'm nowhere near finished. I just wanted to give a little blurb about it to let you guys know where our thoughts were. It's been rough, man. It's been a rough week to be a Blizzard fan. Let me tell you, as I'm sure you already know. Yeah, I guess just remember that this episode was recorded when we were so bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and excited for 8.3 before like 12 hours later it just became a shit show. That's all I have for you guys. So here's the episode. I don't know, just be nice, be better, be cool.
Three, two, one.
Archers, attack! Keep firing! Let none escape! Another down! Do not relent!
Straight out of Scarlet Halls, I'm Slidewhistle.
I am Immunization.
I'm Aaron, Fire Mage Extraordinaire and Horde Punching Bag.
And we have an emergency episode. We just got 8.3 news today. Daddy Ian talked to us, and I'm so excited.
Whew, we just had to hit you guys, the Neon Army, with a bonus content episode.
We're coming to you live, unadulterated, unsubtitled, closed captioning.
And our shirts are off. Ooh.
Mine literally is, because it's kind of hot.
Nice. But I can't believe it. I think our eyeballs are going to pay off. The Church of N'Zoth, it's here.
Praise him.
So yeah, I guess we should preface this episode by saying if you do not want to be spoiled by information of the 8.3 patch for some reason, just go ahead and skip this episode, I guess.
Yeah, because that's going to be all we discuss during this episode. Just go ahead and skip to the next one.
Yeah, basically, if we see it, we're going to talk about it. So, yeah, get out of here. Go on, get.
What's our first topic? Ah!
Yeah, so as Slide was mentioning, the Church of N'Zoth is officially here, widespread,
Praise him.
all over Azeroth. Praise them.
Praise him.
And the 8.3 patch is going to be titled Visions of N'Zadi.
The Zaddy's here. So, yeah, I mean, I guess we already knew he was freed from his chains, but I really feel like Ian put it into perspective when he says that this is the first old god we're going to face that's fully roaming the earth, or fully roaming Azeroth in full power. We're going to fucking die, aren't we?
Wait, I'm sorry. What did you say that he was broken free from?
His chains.
His chains. Attention, all Heart of Azeroth welders.
So I thought this was interesting because he's free, right? He's roaming around. And now I'm sitting here thinking, we have to get some kind of world revamp, right? Because I feel like an old god doesn't just come out of the ground and then all of a sudden everything's still fine, right? Like, things have to break. And I'm assuming that they're kind of starting us with these N'Zoth, what are they called? Assaults?
Yeah, and I think it's kind of maybe not the best wording that they could have used, because isn't that what the Horde and Alliance things are on the different continents?
I mean, I feel like they already have a word for it, and that would be invasions. Just take your green portals from the Legion's invasions, make them purple, and be like, oh, now they're coming from Nartheltep.
Yeah, so it's a new feature, I'm doing air quotes, that they called assaults, where N'Zoth and his forces are attacking certain parts of the world that would be phased during this time as in a set assault. And they're starting with 2 areas. I don't know if why I said that starting is maybe they'll add more.
That they will only ever have the 2 areas.
Well, they're going for the 2 most important ones, at least for old gods, right? They're going after Uldum, and the other one is in the Vale, right? In Pandaria.
Yeah, the Veil of Eternal Blossoms. And they chose these ones because the army of N'Zoth are targeting places where the Titan technology that could be used to combat them lies, really.
Yeah, these fuckers are going after the stuff that's going to stop them. That's interesting because what if 8.3 does end with us like using some of these facilities and re-cleansing the world from the beginning? It could happen. It's still out there.
Do you mean like killing literally every single creature on all of Azeroth?
Like zip zapping.
A lot of people are very excited, though, that the Veil is being restored to its prior beauty, which I don't think any of us ever saw as it originally was, so that's exciting. Although, like, it will immediately be assaulted by N'Zoth again.
I like he did have to add, that caveat. He's like, it will look like this when it's getting assaulted, and it's like the exact same thing, but they turned the white into like purple. But it's like, but when it's looking good, the other half of the week, it'll look like this. Don't worry, gang. We're only going to mess it up again part of the time.
It's so weird because we're learning that Ny'alotha isn't really a different place to go to. It seems like it works kind of like how the Emerald Dream works, right? Like, it's the same location. It's just like a different part of the dimensions or whatever.
Yeah, so that was another big announcement of Ian's video, basically saying that Ny'alotha, which is also the, I guess, world that N'Zoth and the old gods are from or live in, is actually amongst all of us at all times. It's just separated by, as he described, a thin veil. And I guess N'Zoth being released, he's starting to tear down these things, and that's why they're able to enter into our plane.
I mean, I think it's kind of cool, but at the same time, I do kind of think it's a little bit lazy-ish. Only because I thought we were going to go to like some crazy deep area to find some new city. And I guess like Ny'alotha, the city that we're going to be raiding in, which is also a thing happening, it seems like it's probably a little bit off the map, but I just don't want everything to be just reskinned Pandaria and reskinned Stormwind, you know?
I mean, I do like that they are using some areas that we haven't really visited in a while.
Yeah, that's nice. I mean, like that actually is pretty cool that we get to go back to Pandaria and see that. I just want like a real life centralized place where that it's only that, you know? It's not just like a Stranger Things mirror flip or whatever.
I wonder if there will be distinct portals or ways for you to ride over there because, well, I can, I was about to say I can get to Old Doom, but I actually can't, even as a mage. Like, that takes a while.
Yeah, the fastest way would be going to Stormwind and taking the portal over on the island by all the other portals over there where the Pandaren blimp is.
I also agree with your sentiment that I thought this was going to be like some Deep Ones type stuff where they were under the ground and like so we're like digging down somehow or like they break into the Heart Forge or something. It's like, oh, we were deep under the ground. It's kind of weird that you get to Ny'alotha by just like hovering your mouse over the war mode button and then clicking really fast so you get like R mode and it's like, oh, you found us.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. We only have so much information right now. You know, those are such a brief preview that there's probably a lot more shit that he didn't even mention. But he did mention these horrific visions, which seems super interesting. It's like a scenario, right? It's 1 to 5 player content, and so depending on if you're Horde or Alliance, that's the city you started in, Stormwind or Orgrimmar, and you kind of do that Stranger Things flip where you go into the what's it called?
Ny'alotha, but he described it as a vision of the alternate reality that will come to pass if we don't stop N'Zoth and his minions. So it's basically like a fallen Stormwind for the Alliance or a fallen Orgrimmar for the Horde.
I meant what the Stranger Things thing was called.
The Upside Down.
Upside Down. That's what I was looking for. Okay.
And it's almost like a Legend of Zelda Phantom Hourglass thing where or you know what, tell you what, I'll pull from actual Warcraft. It's a Deaths of Chromie thing where they're like, you have to achieve this goal and just going in there, you cannot. But then
actually that is what it's like.
Yeah, continuing to do it, you get better gear, you get a better fancy cape, I guess. And it's like, oh, you keep going. And I don't know if there is an end to it or if it's just like, oh, you done did all this stuff before you died. You're the best.
Yeah,
I think there is an end to it. I'm pretty sure he said that you finally would get to beat it.
Yeah, that's kind of what it sounded like to me. It kind of sounded a little bit like maybe the Mage Tower from Legion mixed with the one Chromie thing from Legion as well. Like if you combine them both, because it's like, but then also are able to do it with your friends if you want, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, so then I really wonder how much like the Mage Tower it is. With the Mage Tower, there wasn't really... I mean, I guess the progression was you getting gear outside of the Mage Tower each week to go back in the next time and be stronger, I guess.
Yeah, it was just kind of getting beat up by the boss until you didn't get beat up by the boss. So it's neat that this is like an actual scenario.
Yeah, and you can get better at it.
Yeah, I more so just meant that it was like the Mage Tower in that it's something I think you can beat, and then it combines with the Chromie aspect, which you could get.
Even Ian said it was at the Mage Tower too, so I was also citing him. I'm wondering what the rewards are like, because they didn't tell us any of that really, other than you get like a piece of like N'Zoth chunk that you bring back to Mother and Magni, and they make you an essence out of it or something like that. They give you, it makes you stronger towards the talent points that you can only use.
Yeah, that's another thing that that was introduced in this video, is that I think this also has to do with the new essence. They added 2 more of those little stat boost essence things, and then 1 like major essence. I don't know. It's a whole nother kind of essence. It looks like that maybe you only get from this kind of stuff.
There's so much of it that I feel like was kind of vague in that video, because it is a minor slot, right? It's not a major slot. He only said the word essence. He didn't say what it was.
I assume the only major slot is the central one. So yeah, it looks like it's just a minor. And as I mused, it is a diamond, so I don't know if there's like distinct minor essences that you'll get that can only be used, or can I just slap one of my laser beams in there?
I think that area, it kind of sounded like it might be restricted to the newer ones, but that wouldn't make much sense because you have all those other ones you should use. So I don't know. I guess we need to look more into that.
I don't know if there is information on it yet. Well, maybe on the PTR people are playing around with it now. But to my opinion is that I think it is like a specific N'Zoth essence or something like that.
It
That
would
is just
it would
this
not
new stuff.
surprise me if it sort of worked like Old Deer armor, which was only ever in Old Deer. Now that I'm thinking of it, they didn't have a Daza or Crucible or Eternal Palace version, but you get essences or gear that specifically help you when doing Nyalotha type stuff.
This patch is just honestly really exciting because there's just so much to talk about. Like, I just want to talk about everything right now. Like, I was just about to be like, fuck all of this. The raid bosses, I just remember that those existed, and who we learned is the raid boss.
So I guess we will start with saying that, as Slide previously mentioned a little bit, we're getting a new raid in 8.3, which is in Nyalotha, or like a big city within Nyalotha, it looked like.
He only said it was Nyalotha, which I'm like, okay, well, but we've already established that Nyalotha is everywhere. So is it like that thing where like it's Nyalotha, the capital of Nyalotha?
I was about to say we're looking at a New York City, New York situation
yeah,
right
I
now.
think so.
Nyalotha City, Nyalotha, the city that never sleeps.
Because we're all eyeballs, we can never get all 1 million of them close at the same time. Blink, 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 blink.
Big Apple, 3 a.m.
Sure.
But yeah, we have learned that there will be 12 bosses, some of which we have seen before or are currently working with.
Yeah, Oh, okay. So, but previously when we saw this list, it was not in order. Apparently, it was in a scrambled, just order list. Now, Wowhead has sorted this raid list by boss order, and the first boss you face is a boss I think should have been kept secret for a little bit fucking longer. Apparently, it's Rathion. He's the first boss of fucking the Nyalotha raid.
I feel like, so we were debating on whether you kill him or cleanse him. If he's the first one, he's got to be cleansed. Like, he's like, oh, snap, the shadow, the void, it's so spooky. And you beat him up and you, like, put one of your new magic capes on him. And he's like, thank you, champion. You used your big magic cape. Now I'll help you go through Nyalotha.
Yeah, I agree. I was also in the camp of thinking that we would cleanse as opposed to kill Rathion, because I just feel like bringing Rathion back after so long and not really having any lore until now, and then just killing him like that would be really weird.
Yeah, I'm sure the cleansing option has to go through, right? Honestly, a bunch of these bosses afterwards, I'm just like, okay, well, old god name, Muat, the prophet Skitra.
It's like Skydie, he's the head liar of the army, and it's like, this man has never been mentioned before and never will be after this.
You got Muat, the family lawyer. He handles all their legal business. Apparently, one of these bosses, Dark Inquisitor Zanesh, is the boss that's shown to be torturing Azara. So, speaking of Azara, we saw her in chains.
Azara in chains.
She needs your help, champion.
So if we kill the guy who's torturing Azara, does that mean that we're also going to end up freeing Azara during this raid encounter? Or, like, what?
My money is on that Azara face turn.
I don't think she even can face turn, right? She's been evil for, like,
she is
millennia.
The ultimate evil.
Listen, she's in chains.
Anything could happen when you're in chains.
I just want to see N'Zoth's nasty tentacles have to deal with a solo soak for once. After I had to do it for so long, N'Zadi's got to do it too.
No, he's pure. Leave him alone. We have some bug bosses. They have the Hive Mind, which are the two generals of N'Zoth's Akir army. We have Shadhar, the Insatiable, just some monster. Oh, it's my favorite one's here. Drestagath. That's a fun one. Apparently she was asleep, and then she woke up. That's literally what it says.
Her name is Drestagath. That's all you're gonna get out of me.
Yeah, she's like, oh, these rude bitches just came into the castle here and woke me up from my nap.
But okay, and then there's one more person who carries Vexonia. Then after that, we fucking have Ra-Den the Despoiled. Fucking Ra-Den, a keeper. The keeper who was sent to be in charge of Uldum and who's in charge of the re-origination machine, apparently is now working for N'Zoth. We're fucked.
The Bungle Master himself.
This poor man. This poor
Continuously
man.
stepping on rake after rake as he makes his way out of the yard.
You know, like when I think that I have had a hard day, I should just think of, the short list of people who've definitely had it harder than me. And that list is Britney Spears in 2009 or Rodden the Despoiled in 8.3.
Like, it's so sad. Like, first he started off, he was sad for like thousands of years because he knew that the Titan Watchers were dead. Basically, he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna be sad," and then Li Shen was like, "Hey, quit being sad. I'm gonna fight you for your power." And he's like, "No," and then he loses his power, gets put in chains for so long, and then they milk his blood, and then when we finally free him after beating his ass, he gets grabbed by N'Zoth. He just can't catch a fucking break.
How far do you think he made it out of that chamber before he stepped on the rake and ended up in Ny'alotha?
Immediately. It had to be immediately.
Remember when he just hovered out for us? He
Oh, yeah,
he
he
didn't
was
walk
hanging
away or like do like a flying thing. Just from a standstill, he just whooped out of the hole and then apparently into the next realm.
It all makes sense now.
And then, after fucking Raden, we have to fight Il'gynoth again. The fucking nasty tree eyeball guy from Emerald Nightmare. Fuck this. I don't want to fight him again.
Do you think it'll be a 1-for-1 recreation? I surely hope not.
Well, so the description says, after his defeat in the Emerald Nightmare, Il'gynoth retreated to the depths of Ny'alotha. Okay. Here he has merged with the very architecture of N'Zoth's plane. Spreading like a malignant tumor, Il'gynoth's corruption continues to feed on everything he touches. So instead of being in a tree, he's going to be on some buildings. So, yuck.
Yeah. So my question is, if we kill these beings in Ny'alotha, do they die for good? Is that how this works, or no?
It might work like Burning Legion levels, where if you kill them where there's enough like fel, it kills them forever. I actually would imagine that killing something in Ny'alotha follows the same rules. I'm willing to bet money on that one.
So you're saying that like in 9.2 we won't have to face Il'gynoth again?
I hope not. He's
So-
fucking gross looking.
What I thought for Il'gynoth, it's just now dawning on me that we did like get rid of him and he's coming back. I always just kind of assumed that he was another N'Zoth type being where like the Il'gynoth we fought in the dream was like his left arm. And he's just so icky and sticky that this is us fighting a different version of him.
Yeah, or like his left arm instead.
Yeah, like it's like Il'gynoth is just so massive because he's like nothing. He's just a series of growths that he can be the entirety of the world, and we just keep chopping away at part of him.
Well, and not only that, this bitch has new fucking whispers for us to feed on.
Oh god.
Oh boy.
Damn, we're still figuring out the old ones.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. Are these whispers gonna still be haunting us in like 10.1?
Oh, they just might, because some of these are so vague, but they're also almost so descriptive. Like, the cunning ones kneel before 6 masters, but serve only one. All right, who serves 6 masters? Kirin Tor? Is it Kirin Tor 6?
Well,
Uh,
I don't know. The
there-
Kirin Tor like mixes it up so often and like comes and goes. I don't really know.
I would say, yeah, there's an order of 6, but there's 9 members in it.
That's stupid. The blind queen wields a scepter of bone. From the deep, she calls forth doom.
Oh, that's just my Death Hunter. She has the blindfold option, and I T-mogged her into 2 bone scepters.
Oh, okay. Well, that one's been solved. That's
Yeah,
good.
that's Janice Wilson.
We actually, they gave us a pretty easy one here. The golden one claims a vacant throne. The crown of light will bring only darkness. Well, that's got to be fucking Alabaster Menethil over there, right?
Yeah.
The Alabaster Mount Menethil.
And I'll read one more, but there's like 5 more to look at. But when the mistress beckons, 9 ravens take flight. Each seek a prize to earn her favor. We're getting a lot of number shit here to figure out. We gotta like, who has 9 what? And people for where are we?
I say I need every single after school activity in Azeroth. Count up your boys. Give me the numbers.
Wait,
Where are they at?
Actually, now that I think about it, the Blind Queen one, is that a reference to Tyrande?
Oh,
Because that bitch
wait.
ain't got no eyes.
Oh shit, I think you're right. But a scepter of bone? What does that mean? A scepter of
She
bone.
she can do maybe Malfurion will die and she'll craft a sick ass monster hunter weapon
Oh,
out of him.
that'd actually be pretty cool.
Or he'll die and she'll be like, my love, I'm so obsessed with you. I'm gonna do some, especially because it's the death expansion. I'm gonna do some sick necromantic bone magic to bring you back to life. Because like we're just wet and wild over here now. We don't care about anything.
Fuck. I'm reading these whispers. The vassal of life disguises treachery. Beware the eyes of green. Is that talking about Alexstrasza as the life binder?
I don't
I
know.
hate these.
I wasn't prepared to do all this thanking.
Who are these people?
Anyways, yeah, we'll ponder these for a while, I'm sure.
The last two raid bosses here are pretty interesting. It kind of reminds me of Cataclysm and Deathwing, because before you fight N'Zoth as the last boss, you fight Carapace of N'Zoth, a writhing mass of flesh, eyes, and tentacles lay like a mountain ahead. Tendrils of corruption and fear seep from the hulking body. This is the core of the Black Empire, the seat of N'Zoth's power within the body of a god. Ugh.
So you just gotta beat up on my man's tendrils and random eyeballs, and they are so massive that he's like, yeah, that's its own boss.
Just smack that around.
Yeah, so then the final boss is N'Zoth the Corruptor himself, which is, I guess, the rest of N'Zoth. His model's been released already, well, been discovered or data mined already, and kind of interesting looking.
It's so bizarre that we're gonna just straight up go in there and fight an old god, like, head on, like a full dead ass old god. Because Cthulhu and Yogg-Saron were only pieces of them, you know?
Yeah, so how
Yeah.
big is this model going to be, like, on our screens?
I
I
don't
hope like
know.
the entirety of the horizon. I want it to be where you turn your camera and maybe there's like a doorway you go through. Everything in that room that is not the doorway is him.
So you,
Ugh.
like, charge up your pyroblast and launch it, and then it, like, takes, like, a minute and a half to make its way over there and hit him.
Yeah, or like the thing we actually hit, let's say it's like a heart or there's like a lump in the middle of the room that we're fighting. But I want like tendrils that go to the edge of the room for flavor and just the rest of it is him.
Oh, so like some vor shit.
Yeah, like I'm very much a fan of the N'Zoth thing where he's so massive he is the environment.
That'd be really cool. I mean, they described the carapace of N'Zoth as a mountain of flesh, so I feel like we're probably gonna end up getting something similar to what you're describing. I'd hope so.
I just don't want it to be, which granted I have not looked at the model, but you guys told me it's similar to the Hearthstone card. But I don't want something where it's like a kill Jaden or something like that where like, watch out, I'm 10 feet tall.
I'm gonna step on you.
Or when we fought Argus and it's like, oh, watch out, I'm like 12 feet tall, I'm so big, man.
Yeah, you're right. He has to be in the environment. Like, that's the only way they can do an old god justice, I feel like. Now, I'm curious how much water's going to be involved. Because everything I know of N'Zoth, I feel like he's a very, like, Kraken-esque model and character. Like, even in, like, his Hearthstone art, he's emerging from the depths. And obviously, he's trapped in chains in the water forever. So, what if they add, like, some, like, water element to this fight?
Ooh, now I'm picturing like some Zelda water temple shit where like you're just on these platforms and then like he's all around you with his tentacles and you just see like the big head of him sticking out ahead.
What if it's just the Ursula fight from Kingdom Hearts? Where she's just really big. You gotta
You're
fucking
so
swim 8 fucking 100
cringy.
feet.
Cast arrow.
Ugh, I hate that fight. So wait. So Rathion's the first boss of this raid, right? And we have to cleanse him or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But part of his whole shtick in 8.3 is that he's giving us these cloaks. So are these cloaks good or bad? Can we trust these cloaks he's giving us?
They clearly don't seem to work because you'd think he would have them or have one.
Wait a second. This man, his product's terrible.
No, listen, he was just too generous. He was using all of his time and energy and resources to make sure that us, his best friends, have a top-notch cape, but then he didn't have enough for himself.
Oh, that's so selfless. What a guy.
Maybe it's like he has one cape. He's like, oh no, Nazoth broke through my one cape. But then, like, when 20 of his best Mythic Raider friends come and give him their capes too, he's like, oh, 21's the magic number.
But, like, in actuality, I think these cloaks have more so to do with the horrific visions of Stormwind and Orgrimmar that we talked about earlier, or at least that's what it kind of seemed like to me in Ian's presentation.
It seemed like a way to upgrade your power level in that stuff. That stuff's so confusing. I want more information on that. But I guess we can move into something I know Aaron's, well, maybe not so excited for. He was excited for it.
I was.
I guess I'll just let you talk about it. You seem so sad.
So, in the 8.3 announcements, they announced that the recently updated Goblins and Worgen are going to be getting their own heritage armor. And honestly, both are kind of a disappointment.
I feel like both of these armor sets are kind of basic. I feel like I don't know. I personally like the Worgen one more, but I feel like the gold in it is really overpowering and it shouldn't be like
Yes.
that much gold.
Listen, all you have to do is treat the shoulders like how I treat the Coltirian shoulders. You just don't use them. And then it'll look great.
I was fuming fuming's too much. I was in a depression at work, and I was like, what's going on with this? And I'm like, I'm going to roll in there. I'm only going to use the shirt.
I don't know if you saw Aaron, but they have two versions of it. They have like the like pants or like leg option, but they also are going to have like a skirt that you can wear or like a dress length thing.
I did not see that. That might raise its score slightly.
Yeah, there's a dress that looks better, I think, because it hides that you're wearing little fancy anklet cufflets. It is such a weird choice for a Worgen to have like a shoe option that just doesn't. It looks so weird. All their shoes look bizarre.
All I know is, and I can't say I'm a designer or someone who understands art, but they have a trench coat that they've put on Gen when he's a Worgen that looked good. They even had a trench coat that you can mog into as a leatherwear from like Legion that looked good. So you would think their trench coat technology would be a slam dunk. Instead, we get this weird, pristine petticoat that is like gold. And it's like, so you can stunt on all of your friends. It's like, yes, because if the Guildnaans are known for anything, it's having any sort of money. They've been refugees for a decade, Ian.
Yeah. I mean, I guess personally, I think it's better than the Goblin one. I don't really like anything in the Goblin one besides the helmet goggles thing.
I like the shoulder too.
I don't know. The Goblin one, I feel like, just looks like cheap Burning Crusade level Mog. Like, it doesn't look as detailed as the other ones do. And I know the Goblins aren't really a designing class, but it just, I don't know, it's like trash.
So it looks like they're really leaning on like their Warcraft 3 being like the Zeppelin pilots era, and that is not what I would say is primo Goblin. I would have, and not just because I said it in an earlier episode, I would have leaned more on like their engineering, like Tesla coils, like, we love to build things, versus like, remember when we flew the planes?
And then that's all we did was pedal those planes for days.
Yeah,
like,
back when we were a generic, like, non-affiliated NPC.
Yeah, it's an odd choice, but I mean, I guess they can't all be great armor sets. It just sucks that it has to be those two. Did you read any of the information about the Worgen quest line, though, for the armor? Have you seen any of that stuff? Do you want to know any of that stuff?
I was so hurt that I just said, I'm done with looking into this, but lay it on me.
It's actually pretty fucking cool. It starts with Tess arguing with Gen and Mia. Good old Mia Greymane, who we met recently at the Burning
We met
Intelligence for the
once as
first
she
time.
was dying.
And Tess is arguing with Gen because she wants to be bit and she wants the Worgen curse.
Yes, she
she's
should
like, she's like, please, daddy, please. You know that I
Bite
want
me.
one of these bites.
But then he's like, no, I'm not going to do it. And then she's like, well, if you won't do it, maybe our champion here will. It's like, uh-oh.
So she's gonna like run up to Grelina and be like, bite me.
Yes.
I think instead, they do that classic thing from a Christmas Carol. You know how it's like, this is what your life could be.
This is what your life could have been like if you're a dirty wolf.
Because you summon Goldrin, the first, like the wolf old god, or I'm sorry, old god, the wolf. What are they called? Wild god.
Yeah.
The one who basically started the Worgen curse and is the first druid, right?
Not the first druid, I think. He's just a wild god, and then the druids messed with. The druids had a form that was worshiping him, where they became him, and then once they were cursed to do that for too long, they're like, "Oh, we can stand up now."
Huh. I just don't. I guess I'm not very knowledgeable about his lore.
Yeah. It was from a Fang of Goldrin that they created Scythe of Elune, intended to tame the feral spirits of the druids as a scythe, but the power of Goldrin turned them into Worgen. So his tooth helped create Worgens, basically. He's like the spawn of it all.
Worgens were essentially the battle tanks, and then when they got too unruly, they put them away.
So Goldrin basically does this thing where he's like, this is what your life could have been in the Emerald Dream. And then Tess becomes a Worgen. But I think she's only a Worgen in the Emerald Dream. And she shows that she can't control the rage. And they do a, this is your life kind of thing, where they put her in the scenario where Liam Greymane, Gen's son, gets killed by Sylvanas. She's like, she's put there and she's forced to watch it. And she's put into the burning of Gilneas and all that other stuff that happened to the Worgen. So that's kind of cool. It's kind of funny because by the end of it, she's like, oh, you're right. I don't have to be a Worgen to get these people led.
I would never willingly choose to do this, as the player character's just like, so glad for you. Give me my D tier level heritage armor, please.
Yeah, like the player character's like, wow, Tess, love that for you.
But you do have one of your wishes granted, Aaron.
What wish?
Will get inducted into the Grey Guard, the Ghanaian Royal Guard. That's something.
Yes, that's something. And then he goes, you have to wear those. It's mandatory. And Grelina walks away.
She quits on the spot.
Get in your blue and yellow Civil War tights. Come on.
Wait, I have a theory here. Maybe this is like Gen's doing. He's like, I can't have my guard look better than me.
Do you think he
God.
heard me complaining about, like, he was ready with the Swiftclaw set? He's like, this is going to be it. This is going to be the set. And then he heard me and he was like, shit. They're unveiling it next week. I have to find something. So he went to, like, his local fantasy attic and rented out boys' pilgrim costumes.
Boys' pilgrim costumes.
Here it is,
Oh,
fresh from the Thanksgiving
no.
parade. And Growlita's like, what did I do? I would honestly take that Swiftclaw outfit out instead of this.
Whoa, are you kidding me?
I am not kidding. The coat is the only salvageable thing. And the fact that it looks brand spanking new from these refugees who have been out of their home for a decade, I've been like, wow, thanks, Blizz.
You know what's fucked is that you guys haven't even retaken Gilneas yet. Like that should have been part of the quest line.
Seen it.
So another big announcement that we all kind of or saw or knew was coming is that they announced 2 allied races joining the fold. The Horde are getting the Valpyra, as we surmised.
Good old Dolly and Dot. They're so
Dolly and
excited.
Dot.
They're my best friends. Dolly and Dot.
And the Alliance are getting the Mechanomes.
Yay.
The Mechanomes are effectively pulling a Nightborn and turning their back on the Horde, who have also been helping them this entire time.
Good, except I don't think the Horde want the Mechanomes, whereas we wanted the Nightborn. R.I.P.
I am interested to see the reasoning. If, like, it's like, oh, let's do this engineering thing. And then Gazlo's like, I don't support this engineering thing. And it's like, okay, goodbye.
Get out of here.
So, these two allied races have some interesting racials. The Volpira have several ones referencing bags. They have a bag of tricks, which pulls your chosen trick from the bag and use it on a target enemy or ally. And then they have rummage your bag, which changes your chosen tricks. And I'm not sure what this means, but it sounds like
So,
they.
so
Oh,
what?
do you know, Aaron?
What it? Based on the description there, I'm going to assume they have a number of different things they can use in their bag of tricks as a racial, and you can shift it. Like it's a weird fighting game system add-on. So probably there's like a rocket launcher or a big sword or something else, and you can only use one at a time, but you can use that other ability to switch them.
Yeah, like all of a sudden you look over at the Volpira and then they're like, I've really mastered the Monado arts.
Shield, smosh.
Yeah, so they have that, and then they have make camp and return to camp. So it sounds like they can set up a camp or home base somewhere in the outdoors, and then later use return to camp to, I assume, instantly return to it. Well, it has a 10-second cast, but it's kind of like a Hearthstone, I guess.
Yeah, it's a fucking probably the best Hearthstone in the fucking game. They can set it literally wherever they want. That's basically what it is, right? It's anywhere you want Hearthstone. I want that.
It says it has to be outdoors, but that's not really restrictive.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, there's so much outdoors. There's so much space.
I would like to remind you that the Worgen's racials include a 1% decrease in shadow magic and skinning faster. These people can teleport and use rocket launchers.
If it makes you feel any better, the Valkyra also have a fire resistance that reduces fire damage by 1% because, we're burning their caravans and they learn how to adapt to our torch-throwing skills.
They got really good at being on fire.
Yeah, which really makes sense that they would want to join the Horde because the Alliance goes out of their way to kill them and the Horde helps them out.
Yeah, because they're fucking aiding their supply lines. They're our enemies. Though, I mean, the war's over, so... who knows?
Do you think their inclusion will dissolve the Horde, much like the Worgens did when the Alliance recruited them? Where people are like, furries in my Horde? Goodbye. Off to Final Fantasy XIV, where everyone's a furry.
Yeah, get ready, Horde, to see the Volpira role play hanging out in Vol'dun. Because we get a lot of that in our Worgen groups over here.
There's sin amongst these sands.
The Volpira are going to make good tanks because of their nose for trouble. When you first take damage from an enemy, reduce that damage by 5% of your maximum health. That's fucking good too. That first hit you're going to eat pretty good. Though, I guess it's not that good because if you're constantly in combat, what's the first hit going to matter? Opposed to like the third or like the 18th hit,
But it's still a reduction of some kind, I guess.
Yeah, and if you're tank swapping, that's probably really good too. And then we got Volpira Survival Kit. You have a chance to find an additional satchel of goods when you kill a humanoid. They just rob humans when they kill them? Is that basically what it's saying?
They're just very good at looting.
Oh. And then, for reference, the Volpira are allowed to be hunters, mages, monks, priests, rogues, shaman, warlock, and warriors.
Only thing that's not there is paladin, druid, death knight. Is there?
Demon hunter.
Monk?
No, they can be monks, right?
Yes,
Oh,
they can.
They
be
can?
monks.
Never mind. Poo-poo on my listening skills.
And then if we talk about the mechanomes, they also have some interesting racials. They have a cool one called Combat Analysis, which says you gather and analyze combat data every 5 seconds, increasing your primary stat by 50 at max level, stacking up to 8 times. It decays when out of combat. And I'm like, what the fuck? Is this a lot or what?
Well, it's 50 times 8, right? Is that what?
Yeah, it's 400 at max level, which most of them would be, which is still very good. That
seems
like
really fucking good.
That's having an extra trinket on every fight for just being you.
Whoa. Yeah, I mean, I guess granted it's primary stat, so it's a little less, I think. But it's still way better than a non-mechanome.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the second one is, what the hyper organic light originator. Summon organic light duplicates to distract your foes. 3-minute cooldown. So you just make clones of yourself?
Yeah.
Kind of like mirror image?
Yeah, I was going to say, this sounds like some mage shit. And then they also have some useful abilities. The Skeleton Pinky, which allows them to open locked chests and doors that require a skill level of 600.
Is this implying that they just are using their actual pinky as keys?
I think, yeah, they
yeah.
have like a technological hand that can like transform it into a key.
But they also have more than just a technological hand, apparently. They have Mastercraft ability, which allows them to personally function as a blacksmith anvil, a cooking fire, or a mining forge.
Well, and their limbs include every profession tool. So you don't have to fucking go buy a skinning knife. You don't have to buy. Wait, does that include fishing poles? Actually, never mind. That I forgot. That's been gone for a while.
Also, I did not know that they could be a blacksmith. That is directly just shitting on a Lightforge Draenei racial. It is like that specific racial and then everything else.
Yeah, but not only that, this sounds like they don't even have to do anything. They just function as that. Whereas the Draenei have to drop it down every like cooldown for their little light forge.
Mm-hmm.
The one that seems the most fascinating to me is their last racial ability called Rearm, and it says when you fall below 20% health, heal for 20% of your maximum health. This cannot occur more than once every 1.5 minutes.
Once every 1.5 minutes is a low ass cooldown, isn't it?
Yeah, that's
You can
they're gonna be living.
like for cauterize for fire mages, it's what 3 minutes, 4 minutes.
It's 5.
God, that's even worse than 3 and
It's
4.
It's 5 for 30% that drops to 10%.
Honestly, I feel like these new allied race racials have been blowing the old ones out of the water. Like they gotta re-up the old ones or something.
Yeah. When I first read this, I felt like Mechanomes would make good mages.
I still
I don't know why,
think
but I just felt that.
I have trouble with them integrating with any of Azerothian society other than being like a hunter who uses a gun. And also, you know what? I'm just sitting here and thinking, are they going to wear our clothes?
That's the thing. I think if you have like a mecha arm or a mecha leg, I'm pretty sure that leg will show through the transmog, if I'm not mistaken. Or am I making this up?
You know, we really don't know, I guess.
Because like we have gloves that have 5 fingers, but it is confirmed you can have like a clanky claw hand as your character. Are you just going to get 5 mechanical fingers instead?
I don't know. I think if you use the claw, I think actually any gloves just don't show. Kind of like how Worgen's feet work.
Or Draenei hooves.
All right, guys, don't worry. I'm gonna solve this right now. I am in the PTR. I'm making a. Oh God, I'm making a Mechanome, and the default character is just terrible right now. Ugh. Okay, so it looks like they have arm upgrade and leg upgrade. So
And modification.
oh, I didn't see that one.
So if for the arm upgrades, it looks like you can swap back and forth between like robot hands with like 5 fingers or like the claw ones that we were talking about. Modification is things on their face and head, so it's like your different kinds of weird ears and goggles.
So this is interesting because in the video we saw the Mechanomes. We saw how cool they look when they're in their big golden outfit, right? That must be their heritage armor because there's no option for a full mechanized head.
So you're just like the gnomes with the goggle eyes. You don't get to look like King Mechagon off the bat.
Yeah, I think. Well, I mean, the armor ships. Oh no, because you have to level them to one. Oh god, the max level to get the armor. Yeah, fuck.
But yeah, I feel like we can mess around with these guys on the PTR a little bit and maybe talk about it a little bit more in the future. I guess I'll round out the allied discussion by saying that the Mechanomes can be hunters, mages, monks, priests, rogues, warlocks, and warriors, which I believe is the same as the Volpira minus the shaman.
Because if there's anything that highly technical society believes in, it's chi, a made-up magic that the Pandaren taught them about.
I guess if Voidos can be monks, anybody can, right? They're because being a monk is about having balance, right? And Voidos are just like, I got chaotic energy over here.
I have a hard time anyone other than Pandaren being monks. For me, it's Warcraft's version of like Scientology. Like you're like, I can get wrapped up in this. It seems on the level. Chi.
I guess we can wrap up by talking just about something that sounds really cool to me is the new Mythic Plus affix.
This thing is so fucking bizarre. How's this gonna work at all?
I have no idea. So it's going to be replacing Beguiling. So we'll have to say goodbye to our emissary waifus.
No. Enchanting.
and it's called Corrupted. And basically, scattered throughout the dungeon are going to be these obelisks from like the city of Nyalotha, and you can click on them, and then you go into like the Nyalotha plain, and you have to kill a mini boss. And if you choose to skip that, I guess at some point later in the dungeon, like the last boss, all the ones that you skipped will also join the boss battle and attack you, or something like that.
Very interesting.
Yeah, the way he made it sound, he was super vague when he said if you don't fight these, they're gonna attack you. Because he made it sound like there's multiple portals, and he didn't say how many you had to clear. So I'm curious on that information, because like you're gonna have to do at least one of them. It sounds like.
It also made it sound like you could use these things as portals to sneak past certain mobs that you didn't want to pull as if you were a rogue.
I'm interested to
And-
see what the meta becomes early on of like, oh, in this one we kill these three and then we take this portal because it skips the wretched killer guys, but it's like, but you don't want to do 4 because then that's just wasting time and we can nuke them at the end.
I I got a little distracted here. I was looking at the mechanomes still. Their dance is very odd. Also, I can confirm, if you put on the mechanical arms or mechanical legs, no transmog will appear over them. So choose your mechanical
I
pieces
see.
fucking carefully.
So you're saying that you only would have a chest piece to T-Mog then?
Currently on this guy, he has he has shoulders, chest, and head. There's no gloves, there's no wrists, there's no shoes. Looks really weird.
Huh. Yeah, I don't know if I like that, but we'll see. Maybe I can come up with something cool.
This is going to be a huge patch, and we don't know when it's dropping yet. He didn't give us a date, but I imagine it's got to be sometime relatively soon, because they want to get it out before BlizzCon, I would imagine.
Oh, no, I don't
Or
think it'll be out before
before-
BlizzCon, no.
I think it'll be out at BlizzCon.
Oh.
I can definitely see a. Well, actually, no. You know what? I say that, but then BlizzCon is only a month away. I'm thinking this is going to be 2020.
Oh, you know what? You're right. We're talking about, because like they want it out after Christmas, so it's probably going to be out like in January. Yeah, you're right. I'm talking way too soon over here.
Yeah, my prediction is like January or even February 2020.
It's going to come
Yeah.
out on my birthday. That's going to be a birthday present.
Mark it down on the calendar, everybody. Aaron's birthday coming up. 8.3.
It's 8.3 for Ronald Reagan. It's his 90-something birthday if he wasn't worm food.
Not RIP. Well, I think with that, I think we can just close out here. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, we're gonna have information on our BlizzCon ticket giveaway, BlizzCon virtual ticket giveaway, not a real ticket.
I was
I
gonna
was
say,
about
are
to
we
say,
shelling out
if we have an if we have an extra ticket, I know a boy who wants one.
it's virtual. You guys can email us at donotrelenttpod@gmail.com or tweet at us on Twitter at donotRelent.
You can follow me, Alex, or Immunization on Twitter at NewEraAlex, or you could also find our now somewhat more active Instagram at Do Not Relent.
You can find me, Aaron the Human, at The Bigacheesy on Twitter. And if you'd like to read mostly my musings on Do Not Relent and World of Warcraft, that's donotrelent.livejournal.com.
And I guess I will also say that this is just a bonus episode, so we'll have our normal one out at its normal time.
Whoop whoop.
Whoop, whoop. All right, we're out of here. See you bitches later. And remember...
Another down! Do not relent!
Do Not Relent is a podcast within the 3HNC network, representing U.S. Proudmoore's premier podcasts.
That was a very good wish.